טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, לה 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 לה. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב, לה 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 לה.
Good evening and good Shabbos. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's such a pleasure to be back on the bima with you, Kira. It's been a while, so we're very happy to have Kira with us here tonight. Welcome to everyone who's here in person. It's a light crowd, so you're going to have to sing louder. Spring break week, so please join in. Welcome to everyone who's joining us by live stream. We will begin with the candle lighting blessings on page 2, and I invite Debbie Antonoff up to light the candles.
Oh, hear my prayer, I sing to you. Be gracious to the ones I love, and bless them with goodness and mercy and peace. Oh, hear my prayer to you. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen. Let us light these lights and see the way to you, and let us say Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And we welcome the Sabbath bride with Lecha Dodi, page 20.
Lecha Dodi likat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabala. 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 Shamor v'zochor b'dibor echad, Hishmi'anu el ha'meuchad. Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shem ol tiferet v'litchila. Lecha Dodi likat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha Dodi likat kala בנei Shabbat Kabbalah Likrat Shabbat L'chu v'nelcha Ki makor habracha Merosh Mekedem Nesucha Sof Ma'aseh B'machshava Tchila L'cha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabbalah L'cha Dodi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nekabbalah
Verse 5.
Hitoeri, ki ba'orech kumi ori, shir daberi, kavod Adonai elaich nigla. L'cha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabbalah. L'cha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabbalah. Boi v'shalom ateret ba'ala, gam b'simcha uv'tzochola, tok emunei am segula. Boi kala, boi kala. L'cha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabbalah. L'cha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabbalah.
Turn to page 22. Psalm 92, the psalm for Shabbat, talks about a people who is flourishing. It talks about reward for the righteous and the enemies of the righteous, their plans being foiled. That God, who is our rock and our redeemer, will make sure that righteousness is rewarded and justice is meted out properly. And it seems like, even though it's kind of strange that this would be the Shabbat psalm, there's this tonal shift in it. It seems appropriate for this Shabbat, which Sunday, as you know, will mark 6 months rather. Whoops, it was the 6. Marks 6 months since war broke out in Israel and Gaza, since Hamas's attack, and 6 months since many of the hostages, those who were taken hostage, still remain in captivity. So let's read it together in English, and then the end is kind of nice, the part about the righteous flourishing, and I'll sing that part. A psalm, a song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night, with a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together. You have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai, how very subtle your designs. A brute cannot know. A fool cannot understand this. The righteous bloom like a date palm. They thrive like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they flourish in the courts of our God. In old age, they still produce fruit. They are full of sap and freshness, attesting that Adonai is upright, my rock in whom there is no wrong. Tzadik Tamar Yifrach, Ke'erez Bavanon Yizkeh, Shetulim Beveit Adonai, Bechatzrot, Eloheinu Yafrichu. Od Yinevun B'Seva, Tishenim V'Rananim Yehiyu, Lehagid, Ki Yashar Adonai Tzuri V'lo Avla Tabo. God acts within every moment and creates the world with each breath. God speaks from the center of the universe, in the silence beyond all thought, mightier than the crash of a thunderstorm, mightier than the roar of the sea. Is God's voice silently speaking in the depths of the listening heart? We continue now with the Reader's Kaddish on page 26. We rise in body or in spirit as we transition to the evening service.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yama divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayedecho Beit Yisrael ba'agala uv'zman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam Le'ol Me'omaya Yitbarach V'yitchatabak V'yitbar V'yitbormam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitalev V'yitalal Shmei T'kudsha
Barichu
Le'elam Min Kol Birchata V'shirata
Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma
V'imru
Amen. And we remain standing for Baruch Hu, page 28.
Yalla lai 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 Yalla lai lai lai
Yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai,
Yalla lai lai lai
yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam va'ed, Le'olam va'ed. Yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai,
Yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai lai lai,
yalla lai lai lai,
yalla lai lai lai,
yalla lai lai lai, yalla lai
lai lai. We remain standing for Shema, page 34.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed.
You may be seated.
Page 36. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha uv'chol nafshecha uv'chol meodecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha vidibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha vaderech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam laot al yadecha v'hayula totafot beinenecha וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Song of freedom, a song of redemption, Mi Chamocha, page 40. Continue with a prayer, a song for peace, page 42, Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, leshalom Ve'amitenu shomrenu lechaim Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
And we continue now as we get ready for the Shabbat Amidah with Vishamru, a blessing for Shabbat, page 44. You got us?
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת בששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם.
In just a moment, we'll begin the Shabbat Amidah. This evening, we'll begin with a meditation, Adonai Svatai Tiftach, on page 46, and we'll sing together out loud through the blessings on page 50. And then there'll be time for a silent meditation. So we rise in body or in spirit, get ourselves ready, create some space. Okay.
Adonai Svatai Tiftach Ufi Yagi Tehilatecha Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu ve'Imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, ve'Koneh HaKol, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לפני בניהם למען שמו באהבה מלך עוזר ומשיח ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע משיב הרוח, מוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומדום מלך ממית ומחייך ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה לך החיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל.
We continue quietly and include our own Avodat Halev prayers from the heart. When you are finished with your silent meditation, please be seated. page 60.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki Atahu Melech Adon Chol HaShalom. Ki Atahu Melech Adon Chol HaShalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov b'neinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol et ub'kol sha'a b'shlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Just a moment, we'll sing the Mishaberach, the prayer for those who are in need of healing. Kira will do her Mishaberach, the one that she wrote. So we won't be on page 253 necessarily, although some of the words are on there if you would like to follow along. Before we sing the prayer, I'll read the names that are on the list. As I've been saying from week to week, it's kind of lengthy, and yet there may still be some folks that you know who are not on the list, and so I'll pause afterwards so that you can add anyone who needs to be added. We are keeping in mind this evening Harvey Adelsky, Sherry Alexander, Lucille Alina, Gary Atkins, Richard Barker, Betty Berlin, Lynn Birmingham, Ray Clark, Bruce Cohen, Isidore Cohen, Nicholas Catrone, Mary Davis, Stephen Despens, Clark DeVoskin, Mitch Earl, Alan Eisen, Carrie Ehrlich, Aaron and Roz Feingold, Laura Florence, Bobby Fredrickson, Lauren Friedman, Max Gans, Tom Gorgon, Rick Hack, George Campbell Hamilton, Frederick Herman, Braden Hink, Laura Jacoby, Maria Javier, John Jenkins, Linda Jenkins, Shannon Jenkins, Lila Kaminer, Jackie Capstein, Bob Kershaw, Marilyn Krasnov, Cindy Levine, Ansley Levy, Ken Levy, Marcia Levy, Dorothy London, Asa Luo, Liz Lyman, Lisa Macklin, Arnold Meyer, Esta Mitchell, Phyllis Mix, Lowell Morrow, Greg Mosher, Simone Neiman, Arthur Newman, Joyce Newman, Candace Patterson, Lynn Prisant, Kathy Rasnick, Marjorie Romes, Deborah Rowan, Peyton Rowland, Norman Rosenblatt, Sherry Rosenblum, Barry Savage, Patty Savage, Lisa Schaefer, Brian Schneider, Eric Schuster, Lee Sexton, Nancy Shallett, Carter Silk, Nicole Aronson Silverman, Debbie Singerman, David Skolny, Arthur Slutza, Linda Spitzer, Brenda Wadler, Dr. John Sid Williams, Dr. Walter Wolf, Faye Yeager, Yarden Meir Ben Yitzchak, Paul Zale, Kenneth Gray, Mira Shoshana Bat Rivka, Aharon Ben Yocheved, Leah Bat Mendel, Yona Betzalel Ben Chava Shoshana, Vizelda Itta Bat Malka. Are there any other names? Please add them now.
מי שברך אבותינו ואמותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה. הוא יברך את החולים. To those who need healing, we hold you in our thoughts with love and hope you are feeling us strengthen you and hold you up. We give you our compassion and our care. We do all we can and then we offer prayer. מי שברך אבותינו ואמותינו, אברהם, יצחק ויעקב, שרה, רבקה, רחל ולאה. הוא יברך את החולים.
Refuah Shlema, may they all, those who are on our list and in our hearts, be healed speedily and fully. And finally, we'll say a prayer for peace in Israel during wartime. You'll find it on the blue cards in your Siddur. And I just wanted to add, I am aware, although I'm not able to attend myself, that there will be a solidarity gathering in City Springs, very close to my house. I think it's at 1 o'clock on Sunday. There's no registration required, and that is to mark the 6-month mark of the war. Just letting folks know, if you're able to be there and you would like to be there at City Springs, I'm sure the information is online, but there is no registration and there will be security present. Carpool or take Lyft if you don't live around the corner like I do, because they're expecting a huge crowd. So let's say a prayer for peace in Israel during wartime. Rock and Redeemer of the people of Israel, guardian of the covenant, bless and protect the state of Israel and all of her inhabitants. Guard this good land established with liberty, justice, and peace, as conceived by the prophets of Israel. Open the hearts and minds of all the leaders of the nation, her sons and her daughters, to guide them in the paths of peace and justice with true strength and wisdom. Strengthen the hands of those who defend and protect our holy land, and crown their efforts with success, that they might establish your reign of righteousness, free from all oppression and fear. May the work of their hands be established, and the words of your prophets be fulfilled. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. Amen. So, some weeks ago, I think it was just a few weeks ago, at Shabbat morning Torah study, Steve Antonoff recommended a series on Prime Video called McLeod's Daughters. It's about farm life out in the country in Australia. It's an Australian series, and there are like 20 or 23 episodes, 45-minute episodes. I think there are 8 seasons. Thank you, because when I have insomnia, it's great TV. It's not really about farm life out in the outback in Australia. It's really a family saga, not unlike soap operas or telenovelas. And I no longer recall why he recommended it, but it was definitely related to the Torah portion that we were studying that morning. Rena, you'll be my witness. I'm pretty sure you were there. It was related. So I was thinking about this. I suspect, and I didn't go back and look at the calendar how many weeks ago it was, but it was in February, that we were studying Parshat Bo. And we were in Exodus chapter 12 when God tells Moses and Aaron how they should instruct the people to prepare for the 10th plague, the death of the firstborn. And that is the same Torah portion that we read this Shabbat. It's the special reading, an additional reading or maftir reading for Parshat HaChodesh or Shabbat HaChodesh, the Shabbat before Rosh Chodesh, the first of the month of Nisan, which is about 3 weeks before Passover. Here's what it says. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe ve'el Aharon be'eretz Mitzrayim lemor. And Adonai said to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, HaChodesh hazeh lachem rosh chodashim, rishon hu lachem lechodshei hashana. This month shall mark the beginning of all the months. It shall be the first of the months of the year for you. So in biblical times, Nisan, the spring, kind of makes sense. That was month number 1. Dabru el kol adat Yisrael lemor. Speak to the whole community of Israel and say, Be'esor lachodesh hazeh vayikchu lahem ish se levet avot se labayit. On the 10th of this month, each of them shall take a lamb to each family, a lamb to a household. Ve'im yim'at habayit mihiyot Moshe v'lakachu ushcheno hakarov el beito. But if the household is too small for a whole lamb, let him share one with a neighbor who dwells nearby. And then it says, B'michsat nefashot ish lefi ochlo tachosu al haseh. In proportion to the number of persons, you shall contribute for the lamb according to what each household will eat. Okay, it's very particular. And don't forget, this is the instruction before the 10th plague, because the 10th plague, they're going to slaughter the lamb, they're going to eat the lamb, roast it, and eat it. That's the Paschal lamb, right? The Passover lamb. But they were, that's a lot of meat. And the rule was, and we'll talk about this more tomorrow, you can't leave it over until morning. It has to be eaten by midnight. It has to be eaten basically by the middle of the night. And you were to take, you know what happens next, right? The blood, and you put it over the doorposts and the lintels. And anyway, in that way, they're going to be spared. And the angel of death will not touch the Israelites. So as I was preparing for this evening and reading through this portion, I was reminded of MacLeod's daughters. This too is Torah. And it's not only because they slaughter and eat. They're raising animals, right? And they eat the animals that they are raising. Sometimes they're animals that they've grown attached to, that they name. But that isn't the part that reminded me of it. What reminded me was how everybody in the surrounding farms pitches in and helps when it goes on for many seasons, right? So this one's crops fail, and this one's, some livelihood is risked, and this one's stallion, they're raising, I don't know, all kinds of farm animals, and also breeding horses, and farm life is hard. And so the people in the town and the people in the surrounding farms, minus the telenovela stuff, basically, they're all helping their neighbors. If an animal is injured, they bring over other animals. If the crops fail, they all pitch in so that nobody, is left on their own. There's a real sense of community. Despite the family drama, the romantic entanglements, there's this idea of sharing. And that's really what made me think of the series when you read that each person in proportion, right? If a lamb is too much for one household, like nothing should go to waste, and everybody should contribute equally into the eating of the Paschal lamb. And that got me thinking, very associative thinker, about the line in the Haggadah at the very beginning of Magid, the very beginning of the storytelling. We uncover the matzah, and we raise the Seder plate and we declare, Ha-lachma anya di'achalu avatana ba'ara de Mitzrayim. This is the bread of affliction that our ancestors ate in the land of Egypt. Kol dichfin yete v'yechul. Let all who are hungry come and eat. Kol ditzrich yete v'yifsach. All who are in need, come and partake of the Passover sacrifice. Now, I don't know about your Seders. I think at my Seder, it's largely symbolic, and I think probably most of us in our households, this is a symbolic statement. Let all who are hungry come and eat. We don't really mean it. But, I mean, we don't mean it literally, but it's, it's symbolic. But Rav Huna in the Talmud had the custom of opening his door every time he sat down to a meal. He would open the door to his home and he would say, all who are hungry, come and eat. And there are some communities that follow that custom of Rav Huna at their Seder, and before they start the Magid section, that time, I don't know what they do about Eliyahu, but they open the door and they say, they sing it. I don't know how you sing it. It's very atonal, right? Halachma anya. And they sing halachma anya, kol dichfin yete v'yechul. And they do this not figuratively, but literally, in case there are people who are hungry and need to come in and eat. Oh, that's funny. In fact, in the coming weeks, at Rosh Chodesh Nisan, we are meant to begin our preparations for the Seder. If you haven't done it yet, I'm not trying to stress anybody out, but this week, this Shabbat, this is the reminder, Rosh Chodesh is coming, and in the next week, you better start getting your act together. Order your food, go shopping, get your matzah, issue invitations to the guests that you're inviting if you haven't already done so. And there's one great mitzvah, one commandment that is connected to Passover. It's called Ma'ot Chitin. It literally means coins for wheat. And that is donations for needy Jews who cannot afford matzah and the other provisions for Passover. That's what they're talking about. Kol dichvin yete v'yechul, kol ditzrich yete v'yifsach. Anybody who needs to eat from the Paschal offering, like in biblical times, right? If you couldn't afford a lamb, or even rabbinic times, anybody who needs to partake of this special meal should be able to do it. We're supposed to open our homes. No one should be needy. Nobody needy should go without matzah. Now, many people have the custom of selling their chametz or making donations of food to food pantries when they're cleaning for Passover, getting rid of the bread that's in your house and giving it away. And JF&CS has a special collection during this time, and a lot of places, synagogues where that you sell your chametz, you can automatically now click on a link, and it takes you to JF&CS's Ma'ot Chitin Fund, and they provide both money and kosher for Passover food in their food pantry for needy Jews in Greater Atlanta. Personally, I try to extend this mitzvah, the idea of feeding the hungry, a little bit wider than just the Jewish community. So every year I try to give Ma'ot Chitin. My family, we always give Ma'ot Chitin to JF&CS, to their special fund. And then also, generally, I try to make a donation either to a local food pantry or to the Atlanta Community Food Bank before Passover. And so, I suppose, and this is, you can't make this stuff up, it is not a coincidence that while I was preparing for this evening, and I was, jotting down some notes, I was on the computer, I was typing up some notes on Exodus 12, I moved some of the psukim, I took the verses from Sfaria and I plopped them into a Google document, because I kind of have them memorized, but I didn't want to mess up. And I was thinking about McLeod's daughters, and I might have been watching an episode or two, and I was thinking about Halach Ma'anya, an opening section of the Magid section of the Haggadah. lo and behold, I noticed, I had my email sort of open in the background, that more email was coming in shockingly, and I thought, oh, I'll just check my email right now. And there it was, an email in their signature orange from the Atlanta Community Food Bank, and an appeal. Make your gift to help end hunger for children in Metro Atlanta and North Georgia. And it continued with information about children living with food insecurity. Children experiencing hunger can be met with serious implications. Trouble learning in school or health problems today can threaten their success and their ability to thrive in the future. To grow strong, children must have access to nutritious food. Without it, their development, education, and hope for a better future will be stalled. And yet, 1 in 10 children in Metro Atlanta and North Georgia routinely experience hunger. 1 in 10 children in Metro Atlanta and North Georgia routinely experience hunger. And then it concluded with the ask. You can make a difference right now for a child experiencing hunger with your gift to the Atlanta Community Food Bank. So I had to click through. Otherwise, I couldn't give this talk. And as I was clicking on it, I thought about that passage again in the Haggadah. So it starts off, Ha-lachma anya. This is the bread of affliction. And in fact, in the Passover Haggadah that is online in the Sfaria online library, it translates onya. Oni can be affliction, but an ani is also, with an ayin, is also a poor person. And it actually, the translation there, I paused and in my mind, this is the bread of affliction, but it actually said, this is the bread of the destitute. That was the translation in the online translation. So it begins with, this is the bread of the destitute, or the bread of affliction. And it ends, the last line is a wish for a more hopeful future. Hashta avde. Hashata avde, now we are slaves. Lishana haba'a b'nei chorin. Next year, we will be free people. Now, we definitely understand this line metaphorically. We are not literally slaves. But we often become really wrapped up in our own lives or in really good Prime Video series, and we forget, no, but seriously, in all seriousness, we forget about the experiences of the other people who are around us. And in all seriousness, I'm looking at my phone or I'm scrolling or whatever, I'm on social media, I'm not thinking about the 1 in 10 children in Metro Atlanta and North Georgia who are going to bed hungry routinely. And I don't think that, I don't say that with any judgment. I think that's just the human condition. We are very busy. We are very involved and self-involved and involved in our own families, and we get caught up in the busyness and the business of our daily lives. And that is a form of, I don't want to say enslavement, that's a very loaded term, but it is a way in which we become so focused on the routine and on ourselves that we just forget to notice what's going on around us. So tonight I want to say, Hine Matov. How good it is that our preparation for and our celebration of Passover includes very specific reminders to care about freedom from hunger and the security, the freedom of all people. May we be blessed this year with the ability to fulfill the mitzvah of ma'ot chitin, of feeding the hungry, and may we be b'nei chorin, free people in the year ahead. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Now we rise in body or in spirit for our concluding prayer, Aleinu, page 282.
Aleinu leshabech l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלושם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
You may be seated for a moment. Before announcing the names of those whose yahrzeits are observed this week, we note with sorrow the death of Jerry Livingston, mother of Cindy Livingston, our Director of Member Engagement. The funeral took place earlier today in St. Louis, and Cindy will observe Shiva here at TKE on Thursday evening, April 11th, at 7 p.m. Cindy is in St. Louis now, and she'll be coming back, and then we'll all be here together to support her on Thursday evening. There was an email that went out, so if you didn't get it or make note of it, I'm just mentioning it here because that's, as we would say in our meetings, top of mind since the burial was just earlier today. If you are here for the yahrzeit of a loved one, or if you are in mourning for someone who has recently passed, please rise when I read their name on the list. This week we are remembering Marvin Aronoff, Bob Beach, Mark Boshak, Jerome Cohen, Samuel Cooper, Craig Daniels, Mitchell Fleet, Joan Gans, Samuel Jamunder, Jack Glynn, Helen Goldberg, Judith Goodstein, Ruth Jacobs, Philip Levitsky, Janet Livingston, Rachel Max, Sam Milstein, Stanley Ullman, Irving Weinberg, and Bernhard Jaegerman. And in our recently passed list, the 11-month Kaddish list, Philip Kaufman, Jessica Berkeley, Eva Rothstein, David Bemis, Henry Meininger, Bridget Paon, Dennis Lebo, Sandy Fay, Stephen Eckber, Ellen Marcia Katz, Sydney Schneider, Melvin Kiner, Francis Reef, Sandra Slutza, Mary Thoburn, Erica Goldstone, James Corley, David Reckman, Judith Siegel, Norman Spitzer, Joanne Hankins, Helene Holtzman, Barbara Rubin Pizik, Mark Newerman, and Edith Meininger. If you are not already standing, please rise in body or in spirit to support those who are in mourning, and join with me in the words of Mourner's Kaddish, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, Bialma divra chirute v'yamlich malchute, b'chayechon v'yamechon v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam omei omaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudesha b'richu. La'ela mikol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiram bi'alma v'yimru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. You may be seated. We have a celebration tonight of the April birthdays. So if you have a birthday this month, God, I can't believe it's April, except that everything is yellow, so I believe it's April. If you have a birthday this month, please come down so we can celebrate you and also give you chocolate. Steve, are you alone? Excellent. All right. We have a few birthdays. There's the mic. Strong women?
That's what we were discussing.
Ah, so it was an Exodus? It was Exodus, though.
It was Exodus.
Okay.
That's when they brought up because there are 5 women running.
Yeah, it's 5 women. He has a way better memory than I do. All right, tell everybody who you are and when your birthday is, and I'll get the
Steve,
chocolate.
April 29th. So that'll be 72.
Ooh, that's a very good number. That's 4 times Chai. Mazel tov.
And I'm Barbara Newerman, and I'll be 75.
Well, also amazing. Fish chocolate. And we would like to sing to you.
Yom
Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach, Yom Huledet Sameach. And many more in good health. Mazel
and
tov.
many
Mazel tov.
more.
See you
Oh, yeah.
tomorrow morning.
I'll see you tomorrow morning. Mazel tov. And Badma. Okay, and now I'd love to invite Sandy Davis, President of our Board of Trustees, to come forward with some announcements. Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Passover is coming up in 2 weeks, and TKE has a Passover Seder for everyone. On Tuesday, April 23rd, we have the second night Congregational Seder. On Friday, April 12th, we have the Kiddush Club Passover themed Seder. April 14th is the TKE WRJ Women's Seder. And finally, on April 17th is the Harry Potter Passover Experience. That one sounds fun. Join our Temple Kol Emeth friends and family at Avodah Off the Square Evening of Honor at Glover Park Brewery on May 4th as we celebrate Craig Aronoff and Pam and Byron Spanger for their long-standing service to Temple Kol Emeth. Tickets to this fabulous evening are limited and selling quickly. Orders yours today at kolemeth.net. Please join us after services for Oneg in the social hall. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Riley, I think it's just you, huh? Come on up. Okay, and remember, after Kiddush and Motzi, please return your Sidurim to the back. There'll be volunteers already heading out to help you get them on the cart. Okay, should we, I guess, Kira, would you like to do this? No, I knew she was going to say no. All right, let's bring this away from the candles over here. All right, you and me. I think it's grape juice. Want to do it together? It's grape juice. All right. Do we stand? I never know. Yes, please. We stand. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
It's really sweet, right? Okay. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread.
Thanks, God.
Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.